Why is that growing up in a structured environment so important? Because you have to have a structured environment to get where you need to be. So I asked you that question, and I have an answer for you. We have far too many people that are living in poverty that don't have the career readiness skills that they need to survive, or the level of education that they need to survive. So what are we going to do about that? We know that education is the gateway out of poverty. So what I'm going to ask you to do, take a walk with me as I reflect back on my life growing up in a single parent household under the leadership of Iniatatives. Edwards. It goes like this. Omar, time to get up. Omar, time to go to bed. Omar, did you clean your room? Omar, did you do your homework? I said, yes, that wasn't good enough. She said, show me that you did your homework. She also told me, you can be anything that you want to be in life. You would find me after school, not a lock key kid that just went home with the key, but you would find me at a local boys and girls club where supervision was the key that led the way. Walk with me to middle school. Middle school didn't look too much different. Omar, time to get up. Omar, time to go to bed. Omar, did you clean your room? Omar, did you do your homework? Omar, show me that you did your homework. Omar, hard work pays off. She knew it was very important. My mother knew it was very important for me to be part of a team because I was not going to do it by myself. She knew that if I'm going to work with others, I needed to be engaged in a team to work with others. So I played baseball and football. Wasn't a big fan of basketball, but I think she got me involved in everything that could distract my time from doing something that I didn't need to do. So I went from practice to practice to practice. And then it was time to go home and go to bed. I continue to ask you to walk with me. Because once again in middle school, I didn't go right home. Where did I go? You should know it by now. Boys and Girls Club. Can you say Boys and Girls Club? And I tell you, then they got creative and decided they were going to let girls in. Because when I first went there, it was just boys. And you know what? We didn't have problems then until the girls came in. But I asked for you to walk with me. As I began to enter high school, I was very declarated athlete. I was first team all-state, first team all-area. I took fourth in the state of Florida in wrestling. I did shot put and discus, so I was very decorated. I was really engaged at an early age on that athletic. I was blessed with that athletic ability. So in high school, I began to engage and have different coaches that definitely poured into me. But I'll tell you, it didn't sound too much different. Omar, time to get up. You thought that was changed. Omar, did you do your homework? Show me that you did your homework. Did you clean your room? Did you wash dishes? Did you take out the trash? All of those things were engaged in high school. But I think the best decision that she made when my life began to change is when she paid me for grades. You may ask, how did she pay you? Can you ask me that? How did she pay you? All right, let me tell you. I received $5 for an A. Ooh. $4 for a B. $3 for a C. For every D and F, she deducted $2 for an F and $1 for a D. So I learned early on that I was great at math, and that was on a weekly progress report. I didn't have to wait for a regular report card. That was on a weekly progress report. So needless to say, I maintained an AB average all throughout high school. And in a matter of moments, it just really blinked before me. I was able, once again, engaged in the Boys and Girls Club, but I was able at that time for you to walk with me as I matriculated all the way to Ole Miss University. I was afforded a full athletic scholarship. High school and the structure in elementary and middle prepared me for that. I received a full athletic scholarship. And when I matriculated to Ole Miss University and I got there, I felt really decorated. I felt like I had really everything that I needed and been prepared for. And when you enter college, you have to be physically, mentally, socially, and spiritually ready. Because you could be great. I watched valedictorians and salutatorians that didn't make it. So you had to have what's called grit. So when I got to college, I would go in the dorm rooms and I would put all my plaques on the wall because I'm from Bradenton, Florida. I felt really good about myself. But guess what happened, folks? I went to the next room and the next room, and what did you think I saw? The same thing. So I didn't really feel that special. I was like, well, all of them are good at this level. So what's going to separate the good ones for the great ones? When you talk about structure, if it would not have been for my life growing up, I couldn't have survived college. Because now I really learned what being a student athlete meant on the next level. They told me when to get up. I didn't have a problem with that. They told me when to go to bed. I didn't have a problem with that. Mentally, I can hear her say, "Did you do your homework?" You know, it was ingrained by then. But there were severe consequences if I missed any amount, whether it was a breakfast, lunch, or dinner. If I missed any of that, it was severe consequences. They came up with this rule that study hall, you had to have a 2.5 grade point average. Guess what my grade point average was in college? A 2.45. So that meant I was in study hall all 5 years. Now, we're not talking about a regular study hall where you just go off to the side and take a little notes and talk to each other. It was non-talking study hall. That's not fair. Not only did you have to go, when you went to class, not only did we have to be on time, we had to sit in the front row. I say, whose idea was that? But they ingrained that in us. We had to work out, we had weight training, we had study hall, we had class, we had all those number of things to do. And I had an epiphany midway through. I'm like, I don't want to do this all my life. So I turned my all attention to my academics, and I excelled. I received 2 bachelor's degrees in social work and criminal justice and social work. And then I got clever. I went to my assistant director of academics and I said, you know what? You need to increase your graduation rate. If I get more degrees, then you can increase your graduation rate. He said, sure. So I received 2 degrees and halfway through a teacher certification on 1 scholarship. Give me a round of applause for that. So being decorated, having all of those degrees, I said, I know I'm finna make some money now. I was committed to the cause. I was college and career ready. I was so determined. I said, you know what? I opened up the Memphis Daily newspaper, and it was 100 jobs that I met the qualifications for. But I only received 2 phone calls. One of those phone calls said, you don't have enough work experience. And I wondered to myself, how can I gain work experience if I'm investing in myself? That don't add up. But needless to say, I said, well, I have another opportunity. I remember it just like it was yesterday, folks. It was in Columbus, Mississippi. I drove down to Columbus, Mississippi. I had a nice suit on like I have today. Back then, I had a briefcase, and I had this new resume on resume paper. I even took pride in the paper. Some of you are nodding your heads. You know that. You didn't go in there and just get regular paper, because I'm getting ready to get a job now. So I interviewed well, and the guy at that time told me, he said, you got the job. You have the job, but what I need to tell you is you're only going to make $16,000 a year. That was in 1997. So they saw this perplexed look on my face. $16,000 a year? So then I guess he said, well, I better take a step back on that one. He said, well, benefits normally don't start for the first 90 days. How about we forego the benefits and I pay you $19,000 a year? Well, you know that didn't work out. But I did have a lead back in Manatee County, a person by the name of Dr. Mary Cantrell. Through a family member, she inquired whether I would be interested in a position back in Manatee County. And once again, I was always told, do what you're supposed to do what you need to do. So I said, I'm gonna go in and sit down and hear them out. But I felt like my degree was worth something. I'm not gonna just work for free and have a degree. I need you to invest in what we need to do. So once again, we get back, I take the job. It was a grant for economically disadvantaged workers at that time. And I took that job. And then that job led to from a career counselor position to a program manager position to a assistant director position, principal of a middle school and high school. So I also communicated to my mother, I would never go in the field of education, and look at me now. But things happen. People come into your life and they impact your life. And what I can say about Mary Cantrell is she took me in a time where I needed her to take me in. Mary Cantrell was so determined that I was successful that she pulled out all stops. She gave me a goal. She told me to put that goal on my mirror, and even before she saw where I was going, she told me to read this goal every single day. And it reads like this: Omar Edwards is to position himself so that his work experiences uniquely qualify him for an administrative position for the school district of Manatee County. So that's how she was able to get me to believe. By saying that every morning, when I started to say it, I started to perk up, I started to believe, I saw things happen, and she didn't just throw it out there. She said, here's how we're gonna get it done. So she was powerful. And when we talk about mentorships and the difference we can make, just giving a moment to someone that didn't even really see it in my future, but she saw something. So I ask you, you see something in somebody and look at the growth and development that goes with them. So currently, I'm Associate Director of Strategic Planning Initiatives, and after 24 years in the field of education, my call to action for you is for generation after generation after generation to get back to the basics. Let's take a step back. Because we have too many kids running the household. We need to get back to the basics and tell them when to get up, when to go to bed, when to do their homework. Because as you look at it, you're giving them motivation, you're giving them self-discipline, you're giving them pride in their work, you're giving them all the tools that they need to be successful. And then they're ready to turn that corner. And, you know, you got to allow those formative years to be led by chores in the formative years so students can be ready for post-secondary education and be ready to lead the way and be college and career ready. Thank you.